Today we're chatting about longer voyages and where you can travel slowly.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of requests for these lately.
This is today on Dream, Travel, Share, Unpacked.
If you'd like to receive an email version of today's show, along with our weekly travel opportunities, click on the link below to join our mailing list. We promise to only send you one email a week every Friday. You can unsubscribe at any time, and we won't share your email address with anyone else.
So how are we defining these grand voyages?
Yeah, I mean, world cruises are usually over 100 days long. So, and the average cruise, most of the cruises we do for people are 10 to 14 days long. So these are cruises, I'm going to roughly, there's no defined definition of these things, but I'm going to call them cruises between 30 days and 100 days long.
What is the upside to these longer voyages?
Well, I mean, like any other cruise, you only have to unpack once, which is awful nice, right? So, I mean, if you're traveling some long distance, then that's a good thing. The other thing too is that air travel becomes more and more painful. So if you think about this, so if you go to Europe every year for 3 years in a row, you're going through the insult that now air travel has become, obviously the expense of that air travel, or recovering from the jet lag 3 times. Yeah. Or you could go for, like, if you did 3 one-week vacations 3 years in a row, to Europe, or you could do 3 weeks in Europe, right? Only have to fly there once, so it's going to be cheaper. You only have to do the jet lag once, and you get to see more. Now, it's not right for everybody. Not everybody wants to be away from home for 3 or 4 or 5 weeks, which is entirely understandable. But for some people, this is a really good option, and certainly, if you live on the East Coast or in the Eastern time zone and you're on your way to Europe, well, it's fairly close. Mm-hmm. It's 6 or 7 hours away by plane. The flip side is if you're going to Australia, New Zealand, well, you got a 6-hour ride across the country just to get to a place where you can get a plane to Australia, which is another 15 hours and a 17 or 18-hour time change. You might want to stay more than a week.
You have a couple other examples?
Yeah, so one would most obviously be Alaska. So, and I know that sounds ridiculous because we're talking about all these places overseas.
Yeah.
But again, if you live in the Southeast, if you live in Atlanta or Florida or one of the Carolinas, you're a 6 or 7 hour plane ride to Seattle, and that's halfway. You're another 4 hours past that to get to Anchorage or Fairbanks. So you go to Alaska, you should stay as long as you can. And in many cases, we suggest to people, most of the cruises are 7 nights long, a minimum of 5 nights on land if you're doing Denali National Park. But there are land extensions that are 14 days long. Mm-hmm. So you can easily go to Alaska, and it's so huge, you're still not going to see all of it if you're there for a month, right? So that's one example. Another one's Hawaii. So again, if you're going to Hawaii by ship, so again, that's 5 days over and 5 days back. They have to hit a foreign port if you're going out of California. So that foreign port is either Ensenada, Mexico, or Vancouver. Mm-hmm. And then you do, usually it's 5 days out, 5 days around the islands, 5 days back. Some of the cruise lines are doing it to Hawaii and also Tahiti. So they'll zip down, they'll do, Hawaii on one side of the equator, zip down to Tahiti, and then back to California, something like that. So that's not a bad way to go. And of course, there's longer voyages if you want to go to Australia, New Zealand. The one that we're seeing a lot of interest in right now, we're seeing a lot of the cruise lines do this as well, is Tokyo to Vancouver. Mm. Yeah, so it's repositioning season because the ships that are in Alaska in the Alaska cruise season, which is April through to September, yeah, they generally some go back to the Caribbean, but many of them end up in Australia, New Zealand, in the South Pacific for when they're not in Alaska. So on their way back, some hopscotch across the Pacific, go to the islands that we were just talking about. Others go up the coast of Asia. So they'll leave Australia, they'll head up to, Singapore, Indonesia, Bali, Thailand, maybe stop in Hong Kong briefly, and then on to Japan. Then Japan, right up north, over through Alaska, and then you finish in usually Vancouver, sometimes Seattle.
Wow. And how long would that journey be?
It's not as long as you might think, like 22, 23 days, Tokyo to Vancouver. Yeah, Tokyo to Vancouver. And oddly enough, you would think there'd be a whole pile of sea days, and there are. Like there's, I think, from the time you leave Japan, they used to stop in Russia, which would break it up. They can't do that anymore. So you leave, I forget the northernmost port in Japan, and it's maybe 4 days before you get to Alaska. And then once you get to Alaska, it's a port every day on your way down to Vancouver.
Yeah. Sounds like a trip I might want to take.
Yes.
What about rivers?
Yeah, so there are longer ones. The most common one is Amsterdam to Bucharest, and all the river cruise lines do some variation of that cruise. They are usually 21 to 24 days.
Okay.
But Uniworld in particular, they have I think it's 40 or 50 days.
50.
Yeah, 50 days. Is that what it? Yeah, 50 days. They call it Rivers of the World, and so it's mostly in Europe, but Egypt too. So yes, you are doing a couple of ship swaps in there. But the other thing you might want to, like, again, if you're happy with the ship swap, they handle all the logistics for you when you do these ship changes on the river, right? So you got to pack your bags, but
Yeah.
other than that, they move everything for you. But France, so there's 3 different rivers in France not connected. So Bordeaux, the Seine River, which Bordeaux, the wine region in would that be southwest of France? The Seine River, which is Paris to Normandy, and then the Saône and Rhône rivers over in Provence. And so all the river cruise lines do a combination of 2 or 3 of those rivers. So you can do 3 rivers in France, 21 days, so 1 week each. And so the river cruise lines, they coordinate their schedules so that, you go Tuesday to Tuesday on one river, and then they move you to the next river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
What are we talking about next week on Dream Travel Share Unpacked?
Wiki sites. So wiki is the word they use for sites where you go to leave a review. So the ones that most people are most familiar with in our biz is Cruise Critic or TripAdvisor. Sites like that, and just some of our thoughts on what you got to watch on those sites. So
I can't wait to hear that one.
we'll see you then.
Bye for now.
If you enjoyed this video blog, it really helps us when you like, or better yet, subscribe to our channel so that we know the best content to produce for you. If you want to book a cruise or packaged land vacation, then we'd love to help you out. We know the products and destinations very well, and we can always get you something not available on direct bookings. Our coordinates are in the notes below. Also, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter yet, you get 1 email a week every Friday with some commentary and some different deals that we're seeing in the marketplace. We don't share your information with anyone else, and if you decide it's not for you, then we're sorry to see you go, but there's an unsubscribe button at the bottom of every email. See you next time.
Great. What are we talking about next week?
Oh, I haven't got a clue. Hang on, let me check. All right, ask me again.